Yes, you guys, welcome back. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions CV, and today I'm here to bring you guys another news daily video. This time I'm going to focus on 3 stories for today, and it's in regards to potential departures from this club. Those 3 players are Kurt Zouma, Antonio Rudiger, and Loftus-Cheek as well. So you guys, I have a ton of things to break down, discuss, and dive into. I hope you guys enjoy. But before I get into anything, if you like today's video, then smash that like button, you guys. Help me go over 3,500 likes. And of course, one more quick plug. If you're planning to make any purchases for any new home season kits, training gear, etc, then you guys use my affiliate links below in the description below. Right now, you guys, if you do use that, you can get access to my 10% off discount code NINI10, of course, to get 10% off your final order. So what you guys waiting for? I'm here to hook you guys up, and without wasting no more time, we start with the first story today, and that's in regards to the future of Kurt Zouma. Now, this story was reported by Le 10 Sport, and they're suggesting that we are hoping to receive up to 36 million if Kurt Zouma does depart. Right now, 2 clubs are showing big interest. They are Leicester City and Everton too. And when it comes to this story, because there wasn't much insight or context in the actual article, for me, this comes down to previous reports that we've read before. Now, of course, we need to make some wholesale changes in our defence. And if worse came to worse, let's say we found it difficult to move on your Rudigers or other players like this, then Kurt Zouma could be sold due to the value and due to his interest too. Now, from this point on, I guess it's time to give my thoughts and opinions, because this is a very brief story. For me, I think it would be absolute nonsense, and it would be absolutely criminal if we sacrificed Kurt Zouma, because if we sold him, this would be a sacrifice, and to be honest, this would really frustrate me. For me, when you not only sign players like, your Rudigers, your mid-tier style of players, you have to sign them with the understanding that, okay, there is a possibility that these guys won't move on to the next level, these guys won't increase in their transfer value, and if that is the case, then we are taking the L and accepting that. I think it would be very counterproductive if we're selling one of our best defenders, because let's keep things real. Last season, Kurt Zouma without doubt was our best defender, and for me, I need to see him play every single game. He's a guy that understands the Premier League. He has the components to fight against it. He's strong. You don't see him get outmuscled off the ball. He is amazing aerially. Him and Van Dijk are in a league of their own. He can play out from the back. His pass completion rate is very high. He rarely gives the ball away, and to be honest, personally, I don't understand why he isn't playing week in, week out. But, we'll see what happens. For me, I can't imagine that we are going to sell him to an Everton and Leicester City. And if that was the case, then I'm not going to be happy, you guys. In the comments below, let me know what you guys would do. Would you sacrifice Kurt Zouma if it meant that we could maybe invest in other areas? Or do you think this is absolute nonsense? Take whatever else in your Rudigers and other players and keep things moving. We now move on to the second story for today, and that's regards to the future of Antonio Rudiger, because it does seem like our London rivals that we are playing tonight in Tottenham are showing interest to sign Rudiger. Now, from Rudiger's perspective, ideally he prefers to actually leave on loan. And the main reason for that is because, of course, next summer it is going to be Euro 2021, and due to that very hungry competition in defence, obviously if he's not playing week in, week out, he ain't going to be part of that team. So naturally, Rudiger prefers the loan move, but there's no way a club like us is going to allow Rudiger to move on loan to a direct rival on loan. That doesn't make any sense. If you want him, you have to cough up the money to sign him. Now, at this point in time, Tottenham are in the market to sign another centre-back. They've been prioritising Skriniar from Inter Milan, and it's quite funny because I remember even from last season, so many people in the fan base were constantly vouching to sign Skriniar at all costs because he's an amazing defender, blah, blah, blah. Literally, you guys, under 12 months later, he could be making a potential move to Tottenham, which tells you everything you need to know. So, in those regards, if the move for Skriniar does actually fall off, then Rudiger would be that backup that Tottenham will go for. Now, AC Milan did show some interest in Rudiger, but due to his high wage demands, that's very unlikely to happen. So, in this case, out of all the defenders we do have, it makes more sense that Rudiger leaves, because I feel like this would be the easiest deal to complete to move him on. Rudiger, I feel like we can definitely sympathise with him. I think the injuries that he's faced throughout his career, they haven't helped him. We can't forget that he had a massive reputation when he was young. He has shown a ton of that promise over his years, but as he's transitioning to his older years, during the years where he should be in his prime, I'm not seeing some of the aspects in this game that I would want for a defender, playing top level football for my club. So for me, I think that Rudiger is the guy that you do sacrifice. It's quite obvious that Lampard hasn't picked him for a reason, because he isn't as good as the other defenders we do have, which is a shame because Rudiger still has amazing technical qualities. But for me, I've always felt like his technical qualities are better than his defensive ones, and this is why we can't really rely on him fully. So that's my opinions, you guys. That's the second story out the way. And to end things with the final main story, that's in regards to the situation surrounding Loftus-Cheek and a potential loan move during this window. Now, of course, I've been reading a lot of opinions from media figures, fans on social medias too, and, just takes and accounts from everywhere in regards to Loftus-Cheek and his situation. Now, personally, I do feel like so much of the criticism is ridiculously harsh. It's not taking in consideration the context. It's not taking in consideration, how it takes a toll on a person too. Loftus-Cheek, for me personally, has been extremely unlucky throughout his career so far, and that unluckiness was really demonstrated further by the manner in which he picked up that injury in the first place. This is such a freak moment, a moment out of his control completely, and a moment, for me personally, that was forced by the club. Now, the friendly wasn't pointless. The timing of the friendly was, this was before a massive European game versus Arsenal, and we're going to America, playing against an American team where American teams are known for their intensity. They don't know what a friendly is. They just play one way, and that's intense. And on top of all of that, you're playing on a ridiculously dry and dusty, bubbly field, so something was bound to happen to one player, and unfortunately that was Loftus-Cheek. And to be honest, that's one of the main reasons why Ruben's injury was far worse compared to Hudson-Odoi's, due to the nature of that field and the complications that brought. So I completely sympathize, and personally, because it is kind of like in my nature as a person, I'm a very sympathetic person. I like to give second chances, etc, etc. But for me, I feel like there's a duty and a responsibility from our end, because we forced the player in this situation in the first place. I do feel like sympathy it doesn't really travel too well in modern day football. But in the case of Ruben, I feel like we have to understand his situation. I've read so many, and I'm going to sound a bit rude, but I got to keep things real and speak honestly for my opinions. That's how I like to do things, you guys. I've seen a lot of really poor, terrible, contextless arguments made against Ruben. The common one I keep seeing is he's 25 years old, he's had countless chances and he hasn't taken them, which is absolute nonsense. It just sums up this lazy analysis that is so thorough and just so widespread in the game today. When we break down the situations, Ruben had things hard from the start. Ruben was part of that infamous Chelsea youth team that had players like your Christensens, your Akis, your Bogers, your Masundas, your Solankis, your Tamis, some of our best ever young players, and for me personally, still the best youth age group that we have produced, that we had no real plans for to get the best out of them, which has been a massive shame. We've seen terrible injuries suffered by Masunda that's really just slowed down his career. We didn't provide the game time and the opportunities for these young guys, instead signing lots of mid-tier players for a ton of money on big contracts that to this day we still can't get rid of. So I'm saying this to paint the scenario, to paint the environment for how things have been. It doesn't matter about your talent. As Chelsea fans, we should know ourselves that talent has never mattered when it compares to the dynamics of the team. We've been a club recently that constantly prioritizes the short term, and to be honest, in hindsight now, I do completely understand why the club have done that, because even in today's times where we're doing something completely different, we have a project that we're building towards and working on. It's going to have annual progression. It's not going to come overnight. Most of the fan base can't accept that, don't agree with that, and are expecting entitled, quick, short-term fixes, which for me, they've been conditioned to see, because as a club, all we've been has been short-term. And I guess it makes sense, when you're a short-term club, it provides a lot of the fan base to get that instant gratification they need. Unfortunately though, that quick fix solution, the prioritizing of short-term success over a long-term game, of course, doesn't last forever. So of course, you go back to square one. So, painting the picture, it paints an environment where young players, no matter how good they are, weren't going to get opportunities. So it's no surprise that Ruben suffered in these times. Now, of course, that loan move to Crystal Palace was key to help him find his confidence to play at this level. He brought that confidence back, and for the first time in God knows how long, a manager in Sarri put him in the team on merit, wasn't patronising, and actually told Ruben, here's your goal. I know you have the quality to play in this team, Ruben. Unfortunately, your defensive work rate, your tactical acumen has to be a lot better. But once you have it, you are going to be a key player. And honestly, you guys, for the second part of that 18-19 season, I'm really hoping that these aren't going to be the memories that we only remember Ruben by, because for me, this really gave you a massive glimpse into his top-class potential. To this day, he's been the only player I've seen to have that same type of gravitas, that same type of, that ability to boost the team's level of performance that I've only ever seen from Eden Hazard. That is the ability that Ruben has. But let's take things back to modern times now. Unfortunately, you guys, I feel like maybe Lampard has to stick to his guns, and he has to stick to the principles that he has originally put in this team from the very first day. And those principles were, if you want to play first team football, you have to perform well in training, and you have to perform in game as well. Now, the reality is with Ruben, realistically, he needs about a good 5 to 10 games of consistent game time to get back to his levels, because time and game time is all players need. Unfortunately though, with a club like us that has big aspirations for this season, that has so many players that are already fit, that are ready to contribute right now, if Lampard decided to favour towards Ruben, then what is it saying to the rest of the players? It tells them that, okay, everything the manager is saying is absolute bullshit, because Lampard only cares about favourites, and if Lampard buys into that, then everything will crumble. So, if anything, I feel like this forces every single party to really have to think long term now. If you're Ruben, realistically and ideally, you have to play football every week to really get back to your full form. Playing a handful of minutes every, few weeks ain't going to really cut it. And if anything, once the season ends, it will cost you right at the end. But for this loan move to work, I can't see teams like Aston Villa and I can't see teams like West Ham being linked. I'm sorry. I feel like if Ruben accepts a loan move like that, where you're playing alongside mid-tier players, not on the same caliber that you have been used to playing with, then I feel like that could cost you in the long term. Let's say that Aston Villa were to get relegated, regardless if Ruben has a great season, then no one's going to care. The argument's going to be, okay, Ruben, I guess he wasn't good enough to help Aston Villa stay up, where unfortunately in football, it just doesn't really work like that. So I feel like this could be a situation that could work against him, and it could put him in a situation for next season where he comes back to be seen as a backup option. Ideally, I'm hoping these 8 clubs rumoured actually have the quality and actually are great teams. Now, back in the day, Lyon were a club that have really been big fans of Ruben. Their club president in particular has been a massive fan. So I'm really praying that a club of Lyon's stature and credibility, they are interested in signing a Ruben, because I feel that is the environment you want a player like that to be in to get back to his full best. Going to a bottom tier Premier League club just for the sake of game time, it's not good enough for me. Those McDonald's minutes aren't really going to help the player whatsoever, and I think that long term Ruben could miss out. So to end my point, you guys, unfortunately, I think that with the environment of modern day fans today, Ruben won't get that support really from the fan base that he actually needs to actually get that confidence back. Because when you suffer an injury which has kept you out for 13 months, where your calf muscle was literally gone completely, where you had to rebuild that from scratch, learn to walk again, do all these things, these punishing, draining things, these schedules that you have to stick to daily to get back to full speed, and the fan base doesn't have the patience to wait for you and is already discrediting you and writing you off, then what hope do you really have? It pains me to say, but I feel that maybe for the sake of Ruben to be the best player he can be, getting that loan move could be good. But please, if Ruben's going to get a loan, please have an option to recall in January at least. Because if his form comes back like that, then I need to see this guy back in the team. But anyway, you guys, that is it today. That was the News Daily video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the comments below, I know a ton of you guys have your thoughts and opinions. I'm here to read them all. We are all here to read them all. So make sure that you air your opinions. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.